the Canadians are reaching out to me saying, "Hey, Brandon, how probable is Canada becoming the 51st state?" So I wanted to get your thoughts on that because I've already explained mine.
Okay, well, okay. First of all, okay, let's ask the question, what is a state? Okay. Well, a state in international law is called a nation state, and Canada is a nation state. The United States is a nation state. California, Utah, New York, those aren't states. Internationally, states that are internal are not recognized, okay? Again, I don't know how to get this through to people's heads, but like when you talk about a state or a people, which is a state, right? And you're not a people. I'm not a people. People is plural. When you get sued, it's the state that is the people of Utah against you. You're not them, all right? Because there is no them. There is no people. There's only a state. When you look up state, the word state means a people. Who is the representative of the people? Not me. It's Congress, right? It's the senator who used to be a statesman and now is a global citizen, right? So first of all, Canada as a state would only mean one thing, that the nation state of the United States militarily conquered or purchased Canada from, well, in this case, it would probably be England, right? The Queen, and
Still in their currency.
to have all of that released to the nation state of, right? Because you got to think, well, are there states in Canada? No, but there are provinces, right?
7, I believe, yeah.
Well, hey, guess what? Provinces are exactly what states are in the United States. We should be calling Utah a province, okay? Because there's only one entity that is recognized internationally. Constitutions are created to appeal to the international body. They weren't for us, right?
Masonic.
State constitutions are nothing more than a document signed, created by the president, the Congress, and signed by the president. It is a United States functionary. In other words, it's a province, not call it a state. Okay, great. It's a misnomer, right? So to say that it's going to become a state, first of all, in international law, doesn't mean anything. It would only mean one of two things. Either the United States conquered by force or purchased, okay? Examples of that. The United States reconquered the Confederate States. You had the Louisiana Purchase. What does purchase mean? It means to conquer, except by money, right? You have, let's say, how was Ohio created? And different states that had what was called the Ohio Company, right? Okay, the Ohio Company purchased the land that was Ohio and other states now for a price, and it became part of United States territory. It was not nothing in the area. It was never anything else but, okay? Then all the states had to redo their constitutions and readmit to the United States after the Civil War, to which all public lands were pledged to the United States. If California tried to secede, that means that 34% of the land, if I'm not mistaken, 34% of California land is territory of the United States. If California tried to secede, they would literally be declaring war against the United States, trying to become its own nation state recognized internationally, because there's nothing else for you to do. If California secedes, just like the Confederacy, you would have to become a nation state and be recognized internationally to be a state. Okay, the colloquialism that Canada is going to be the 51st state. It's an exercise in logic, right? It's just like multiple universes or whatever, right? You're not supposed to take it literally.
Right.
Now, if Canada were to surrender to the United States, then what would the Queen think about that, right? Or the King, I guess now. What would the royalty, right? Because Canada never left the province of the kingdom, right? It was, so what would that mean? The logistics there would mean that the crown would actually be giving up part of its structure. So that's another part to consider. Would that be peaceful? Would it be a purchase? Would it be a war? Right? So the whole thing is nonsense when you actually understand the international perspective and how nation states work. And I'm telling you again, internationally, there are no states. States of the United States are internal. And the problem with us, like you said before, is we think bottom up. You got to go top down, well, then you got to go to the international law, the law of nations, right? And you got to think, okay, well, when all these countries around the world became republics, okay, China Republic, Russia Republic, everybody's a republic, and then they all got constitutions, and the republic was essentially squashed in favor of the nation state, just as the Treaty of 16 whatever, the Westphalia Treaty, right? That was the new game. That's how it was going to work. That's why history went the way it was. That's why everybody had a revolution. That's why everything became a republic, and that's why the constitutions were created later, right? To form a nation state that would be accepted into the international order, which now is the United Nations. Okay, well, guess what? United Nations does not recognize England or Scotland or Ireland as states. They are part of one state, which is called the United Kingdom. Individually, they're allowed to run their little franchise and they can make rules. But internationally, where it counts, they aren't even recognized as an independent entity. Canada is recognized as a nation state, okay? So if you want to understand how that could possibly happen, then you'd have to look into how it could be purchased or conquered. And because in order to be the rule, and get this through your frickin' heads, the rule to be a member of the United Nations is to have conquered the territory or purchased it. You must own all the territory, have claim to the territory. That's all land. And you must have conquered the people. Okay? We are a conquered people. We're not free, right? So until you understand that, then you're going to be fooled by everything, all the colloquialism, all those things. You're never going to understand anything. But as soon as you take the perspective of being an internal slave, essentially, an internal employee, a voluntary subject, right, to a master that then has, through treaties and other things, another master, which is this United Nations.
Yeah.
Then you can understand, okay, international law. See, look, I'll just put it to you this way. Everybody I've met that went from the truth movement, which is the slave mentality.
Yeah.
In other words, looking only internally and not
bottom up again.
Hey, what's outside of the United States, right?
Yeah.
Anybody who goes into international law, reads the law of nations, all of that, understands how it works. There's very few people that have gone that far, and every single one that I've looked into, they quit. They're done. This is the truth movement, the patriot movement, it's a non sequitur. It's a non-starter because you don't understand how anything works in the world order. And you're even foolish enough to think, oh, if we're not careful, they're going to establish a new world order. It's already been established. It was established many hundreds of years ago, right? And then the United Nations is just the modern version of that. Now, the thing you need to be worried about is the destruction of the nation-state model into a one world order. I mean, a real one world order, to where the nations themselves, the states themselves, no longer have any power. That is the part that's coming. But the world order itself is already there in the nation-state model.